Hello, everyone. Welcome to Bitcoin and Altcoin Trading Talk number 26. I'm Rob Borden from Coinigy, and obviously your usual host is William Kale, but he is vacationing in the Dominican Republic this week, so I'm taking over the duties. And with us, we also have Brian Beamish from TRI, as usual, therationalinvestor.co, and
Hello,
also.
everybody.
How you doing, Brian?
Can't complain. Sad
Good.
nobody listens when I do.
Also with us, as usual lately, is Alex Stirk from Block Talk. How you doing, Alex?
Fantastic. I wish I was sipping daiquiris with the Chico Bonitas with Will, but I'm here with the snow in eastern Canada. Yeah, it's a great time.
Yeah, I'm hoping William's having a good time. I haven't heard a whole lot from him, and that's a good thing because I think he needed a little bit of a disconnect. So.
What
Yeah, I think so.
what was I gonna ask? Oh yeah, what's the weather like in Wisconsin?
Oh, the weather in Wisconsin's been pretty dreary, to be honest. I'd say like low
You're not getting
mid-30s to mid-40s and rainy basically for the last 10 days.
the snow Alex getting, eh?
Fortunately, it's been too warm for snow, but it's
Well,
been raining the whole time.
well,
So,
what do they say? April
showers, right?
Yeah, April showers bring May flowers, right?
Yeah, you got it.
But I'm just showing my age with that. Anyway.
Yeah, maybe a little bit.
So, who wants to be quarterback tonight? Now that our regular quarterback is out, got a whole bunch of fun stuff to talk about. Who wants to take charge here? Alex, you feel like leading our charge here?
Yeah, sure. Well, geez, we got so much of a response on the tweet now on people wanting coins reviews. Like, there's still stuff I guess that needs to show some upside, and then there's a lot of stuff that's kind of at like a bouncing place. So it's great to see lots of interest in the show and. Yeah, lots of interaction. So I'm happy to I guess run this deal. I guess first thing that it kind of happened today that everyone wants to talk about is Lisk, which is this ICO that was done I think last month, and they raised I believe it was like 15,000 bitcoins, which is pretty substantial. For it's a little tie-in with Ethereum. So like Ethereum is like these smart contracts that you basically use ETH to power like code in the executed in a blockchain. So what Lisk is kind of like an extra layer onto that that's supposed to be cheaper and more efficient in JavaScript. So for anyone who's not technical, like JavaScript is like probably one of the fundamental languages of the internet. Like it's becoming like the standard of what everything's programmed in. I imagine a good chunk of Coinigy is probably programmed in JavaScript.
Oh yeah, definitely. Most of the front end and probably half of the back end. So
yeah, like the technicals of the project sound pretty cool, and but I think like a lot of people started feeling buyer's remorse after a lot of like information started surfacing about the team. So it's only two guys. So put the contrast in how much they raised. Like Ethereum raised about 20,000 bitcoins, I think it was. One bitcoin was about $800. So these guys raising 15,000 bitcoins when Bitcoin was like $400 is pretty high up there considering it's just a two-man team.
Mm-hmm.
And the one guy doesn't really have a technical background, and the other guy has been an IT manager for a bicycle shop for like the last 10 years. So I think they're a tad overvaluated, and I think a lot of this buzz for ICO is probably going to end with this project. We'll see. They also actually had their own currency before. I forget the ticker. I think it's like XCT or something. But like there's some actual like the surrounding the crowd sale. There's already some worrying behavior because apparently BTCE, the exchange, sent funds from their cold wallet to this ICO. to be part of it. So they sent other people's money. I guess the team like noticed it and they actually like denied it. So already like there's such controversy around this project. It's hilarious.
Are the developers from Eastern Europe?
Yeah, I think they're from what is it, Romania? I believe that is.
Because that's sort of BTC land, isn't it?
Yeah. Somewhere.
Hmm. Well, I have on the chart here, I don't know whether people can see, but a question I had for you about this list was, do you remember the Ethereum did their ICO, and there was a long hold period, and there were like little derivatives that started trading off of that. Do you remember the one? There was one in particular, and I can't remember the name of it, but I think it started with an E as well.
Yeah, it was called Ethercoin.
Yeah, I think I remember. It was actually, you know, just when I actually first got to know you a year or so ago, that this was out, and it was trading away, trade. Well, Ethereum was still theoretically locked up, right? So, you know, if I'm not mistaken, the list coins, this ICO financing kind of thing, they're still locked up, right?
Yeah, but I think the main difference here is the scope of the project and the timeline. Like Ethereum was already going to be like a year out, so this guy who essentially made his Ethereum tradable, he actually created a blockchain and a token, and he signed his address to prove that he actually had the Ethereum. So what we're seeing from what the exchanges, YOLObit, is probably not in the same realm of what you want to be buying, because a lot of the guys I know that trade on YOLObit, they hold their breath whenever they try and withdraw, and it's like a slight sigh of relief when it actually processes. Like, this is the type of exchange that has like an ICO every week or almost every day, it seems now, and a lot of them don't even have like blockchains or even like an announcement thread on Bitcoin Talk. So
that's interesting. So, because I remember this YOLObit here, it was kind of the rage about 2 or 3 months ago. It might have been longer, like 6 months ago when it started up. Everybody was like, "Oh, YOLObit, what's this? What's this?" What's your general feeling about this YOLObit exchange? Are you not impressed with them?
not at all. Like, I don't think I've ever sent coins there before, and I don't advise anyone to send coins there. And actually, with this whole thing that's going on, they sent an email to everyone on their exchange that this list is being listed.
Yeah,
so,
I got the email. I posted it in the chat room this morning. I thought it was hilarious.
like, that seems kind of like almost Gox-like behavior, or like this is probably they're going to be disappear in the next month with a lot of funds. Like, this is kind of a cash grab sort of thing. So
Yeah.
this is my like statement to everyone. Like, it's more of my opinion, but it's like, do not send your funds to YOLObit. Do not participate in this market.
All right, well, that's pretty bold. So that's interesting. And anybody, like, obviously, YOLObit, is that the actual name of it? YOLObit?
It's YOLO, like you only live once.
I think it's really YOBit.
YOLObit. All right, whatever the hell their name is. Obviously.
Everybody's calling it YOLObit because it's
a
rip-off, potentially.
They're going to be watching this show. You know, we seem to have a pretty growing audience. So, you know, I would challenge somebody from YOLObit, if you, at the very least, if you want to come on the Twitter feed and talk to us about your motivation. Why are you doing this? And is this like a cash grab, like Alex is a bit afraid of here? Or is this like a purposeful marketing campaign that they're just simply trying to make a splash in the crypto market? And frankly, I think they made a hell of a splash today. If you didn't know about YOLObit and you were interested in crypto, before, you sure know about it now. So it was all the rage. We had guys in the chat room popping off great trades on this thing. You know, me personally, my bent. I'm going to play more defense than aggressive offense. So, I really can't get involved in this, and I can't recommend people do this. So, like, I've got a 3-minute chart up here. But, wow, it was a hell of a move. I mean, out of the gate there, that was we're sitting at about a 7-8-fold move on the day here. Could you gotten filled in size? I don't know. But it sure made for some wild fireworks. And like I said, I got some boys in the room tonight who are banging off trades, and they're happy campers. So traders got to trade.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. They have a tweet on one of their tweets that's on their site here. It says, we bought some amount of coins on ICO, and now it's available for trade.
Yeah.
That seems kind of weird. That I don't know. Is that unusual for the exchange to, like, acquire a huge hoard of coins and then just sell them, basically?
Well, that's what Bitfinex does.
I mean, I guess it's kind of basically market making, but Bitfinex doesn't do it with a coin that's never been listed on any site before.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody knows the devs or what it's about or anything. It definitely seems a little bit suspicious.
Anyway, it sure made for an interesting day, I'll tell you that much. And it kind of, what I actually found is that I almost, for whatever it's worth, my sort of impression was I think a lot of people were sort of obsessed with watching Ethereum sort of melting down here. And in a sort of a way, this almost distracted. It almost like stopped that focus. And I noticed that Ethereum started to perk up here. And some of the others, like there was, I think, Feathercoin, or FTC. I don't know whether I got that right or not. I don't think I did. It was a recent rallyer, and it sort of backed off. And I noticed a lot of bids coming in, and I was sort of talking about that in my daily video to my members, is that I kind of felt like there was some sort of catalyst. Something happened today around this risk, and it sort of changed the tone of the market a little bit. Anyway. It made for some interesting fireworks. And anybody in the audience, if you have any questions, feel free to post them or comments. And like I said, if there are list people out there in the audience, we'd love to hear from you. I'd be really curious to get your take on this.
I think anyone that bought the ICO is probably ecstatic right now because at current prices, it's like 56 times the ICO value. Like that's quite a large percentage of price discovery.
Right. Right, and I think if I'm not mistaken, like there's like a 20 or 30-day window until these coins become available, right?
Yeah, they're saying by the end of April the network's probably going to go live and the other people will start trading. And like
this is kind of like an artificial market right now.
Yeah, and it's not like by all means it's not like this is the first time this happened. Like we talked about earlier, Ethercoin, and there's actually Rep. It's trading on Gatecoin, the Gatecoin exchange. So that's Augur's token, and it's trading, I think, at like 30 times ICO value right now. But the thing is, it's kind of trading in a vacuum, and the people who are market making it, they're basically able to pull the price up as much as they want. Like I've defined these as like rise-only markets. Like Ethercoin, I think, was around for so long that it was able to have a decent bit of price discovery, and it represented it very well. But like these ICOs that are these tokens that are a promise of payout of like the actual tokens, I don't think they're around long enough to give a real good gauge on it, especially Lisk. Like Rep is probably trading a little more around actual price, but
yeah, I can understand that, and it's totally a caveat emptor. If you're going to get into this game, you better know what the hell you're doing. All right.
Yeah,
well,
but I'll say avoid Yobit, but again, my opinion as a seasoned trader and someone who's, I guess, connected to a lot of guys who've traded before, or trade a lot. But
we got to create a crypto dead exchange list, or a crypto negative exchange list, because man, I would imagine there's some people out there that go, I heard of this place Cryptsy. Should I go and put my coins there? Are they even still alive anymore? I don't know.
No, not really. I think there's a class action lawsuit forming, or already in court. I'm not sure. Already filed possibly, but. I think that they pretty much Big Vern ran off with the money, or it was stolen, basically. And
how's Alex? You talked to him. I think he's active in your chat room, your chat channel a bit. How's Bitterx Bill doing through all of these, polo margin and stuff? How are things going over on Bitterx?
They haven't been adding too many new coins. Like I know they added one that I think a lot of people are overly critical of, but yeah, they're doing a lot more improvements on the back end. I think much like Coinigy is doing. The front end all looks the same, but they're kind of like moving everything around on the back end to make it far more efficient and trade faster. But I don't know, like not too pleased with Bittrex right now. I think their mobile platform is kind of shitty, for lack of a better term, and their market isn't any faster. If anything, it's been slowing down a bit for execution times. I know they do have some new coins being launched in the next month that are going to be like new to market, and just from the discussion today about this whole list thing, maybe they're going to list some ICOs. Who knows? I think Bill said he was going to talk with his legal team to see what they could do to actually have like users' funds be tradable. So yeah, it's got.
I like to get the pulse of how these exchanges are, and I think you're probably the best person to know that. So.
Yeah.
Well, they're definitely raking in decent money now with all the fees generated from all the volume just from Ether. Like Ether's probably earned them probably 25 grand in the last couple of months, just in fees. So it's substantial.
I will say that for the first time, we've experienced some like connectivity issues and downtime with their API, which is unusual in the last couple of years. Just up until the last, maybe 2 months, it's happened a couple times. So I don't know what's up with that.
It just seems to be their trading thing, because like I'll always say that Bittrex is the best web wallet I've ever used because their withdrawals and deposits are like bang on, like fast every time. Like you get the email, it goes out right away. Like I've sent payments from Bittrex pretty quickly, so that end of it's working fine. But I think their market APIs they're tinkering a bit, and it's not looking any better. Hopefully, it's just gonna have like a day where everything just like snaps back right, and it's like faster than we've ever seen before.
Yeah, well, we're still hoping that they will provide a real-time API because we still can't get real-time trade data or order data from them, and they are one of the very few exchanges, definitely the largest exchange that doesn't offer those features at this time. So hoping that that's going to come out soon. I know they have it on their own site, but they don't make it available to anybody else, so it's a little frustrating still.
Bill, if you're watching this, you know what the traders want, and you have to give it to them. All right, so let's go on to I think our next topic here, which is Bitcoin, and this article that was released by the International Business Times. Craig Wright reportedly set to prove he is the Bitcoin creator Satoshi Nakamoto.
Mr. Happy.
I mean,
that.
No one can say it's not true, I guess, until it's disproven and he tries to lay out some evidence, but obviously we've been through this dog and pony show one time already.
Any idea what would motivate him to do something like that? Like, why would he want to do that? I don't understand why. What would motivate him?
What motivates
besides being the creator? I mean, if you were the creator of Bitcoin and you had remained anonymous until this point, would you really want to out yourself?
What would be the big benefit of coming out right now? I don't understand what and if he isn't, what on earth would motivate himself to do this to his own sort of name?
I mean, the only thing I can think of is trying to get to a position where he could move coins from his old addresses and actually cash out a little bit without people freaking out. That's the only benefit I could think of, and I know that when this first was in the news, how long ago was that now? Maybe like 9 months ago or something? Didn't this guy already say that he was the creator of Bitcoin once, and then after a couple days he just like disappeared?
Well, it was the Wired article surfaced shortly after he did he showed up at a Bitcoin conference in Vegas. He phoned into it, which the whole thing, if you watch it, it's like, okay, it's obvious that he's pretending to be Satoshi but not saying it. Like he's kind of, oh yeah, I've been in the space a long time, very long time. I keep my head down though. I don't say too much.
Yeah.
Like pretty funny stuff. Rob, I might interject here for a sec. I think you've had the camera on me the entire show here. It says you are presenting to everyone on my show. I don't know, maybe you can show Brian's screen if that's possible.
Yeah, I can. It
It
wasn't the whole time, but it's been since we finished that last segment, yeah.
Yeah, so you can see the wonderful photo of Craig right there. He looks so happy. But so there's two ways. Like Wired even mentioned this in their articles. Like he's either doing one of the most elaborate hoaxes we've ever seen in the space, or he is Satoshi Nakamoto. And the reason why this was all kind of disproven was a lot of the evidence, like emails that said he was like talking about PGP keys, like which are like digital signatures that are in a database. So MIT has this database of like signatures, so people can say like me writing this, the same way you can sign a Bitcoin address, you can sign in an email to say it's yours or if it's you. So people have two different copies of this database. The one at MIT says that he sent these emails back in like 2009 saying that would prove that he is Satoshi, but then there's other people like that are in the crypto space that kind of have their own copy of the database from that time. They're like, it's not in mine. It looks like somebody like amended the database. Like they put in that signature at that point in time. So that's kind of disproven a lot of the emails that were originally to say he is Satoshi. And then there's this whole he has a supercomputer. Like he has the largest privately owned supercomputer, but a lot of people are saying it's like I don't think he even has that. Like maybe that's why he's pretending to be Satoshi. Like he's getting funding for whatever projects he says he's doing, and he was like quietly telling people he was Satoshi, and now like Wired discovered that he was doing that. So it's like, okay, he's either a big hoaxer or he actually is Satoshi. So is Satoshi, basically the most conclusive way he can prove it is he can sign one of the first Bitcoin blocks, like what they were mined,
Right.
to say that he owns them. Like if he can say that he owns the Genesis block reward, the 50 Bitcoins, the very first 50 Bitcoins that were created, then he is Satoshi. It's as simple as that. But if he can't do that, then probably isn't.
Probably not.
Does mean for the
Because if he really wants to prove it, then he'd be able to do that. So.
But what would be the motivation? Like my hunch is, for whatever it's worth, like a trader sort of skeptical insight, is this guy's trying to inject uncertainty into the price and drive it down so that he can buy more at a lower price. That's my hunch here. That's what I think is going on. It just doesn't make sense why would he come out now of all times? But anyway, only time will tell, eh?
We will see. The only thing got to be to cash out. If he's Satoshi, then he's doing this so that he can cash out. That's the only thing that would make sense, because it's not going to be positive for Bitcoin's price if he is proven to be the creator. I don't think, at least short term, anybody being proven to be the creator of Bitcoin would be positive for the price.
Well, and that's just it, is that I actually had a few people in my chat room which surprised me. They were like, well, if this guy actually is Nakamoto, then yeah, that's actually going to be bearish. And I was like,
oh yeah.
Well,
then it's going to be everything that he has in his background and past is going to become Bitcoin's background and past by association. And then he's going to have to, it'll wash out eventually, I'm sure, but in the short term, it'll probably be hard on Bitcoin.
Well, and then there's also 1 million coins that would be potential to come on the market, because Satoshi theoretically owns like 1.2 million coins from the time he started mining.
Huge flood of supply too, if that's the case, and yeah, that would definitely have further impact.
So part of the bogus paperwork that was surfaced back when this story first started was a trust fund that apparently these 1.2 million coins is allowed to move them until 2020, and they're only allowed to be spent on Bitcoin development. So maybe that means like, oh, Bitcoin's going to get a shitload of funding soon. We don't have to worry about the inflation of these 1.2 million coins until 2020. It just comes down to this point: is like he either is Satoshi or he is just a hoster of a bunch of fraudulent documents. Like,
Right.
I don't know. Like, why do people do these crazy things?
And since this is
Why does Yobit list?
Well, no, I mean, I think this all comes down to money, right? And since Bitcoin is unregulated, he can go out and make these fraudulent claims, and there's no legal repercussions for any of this, but he could dramatically manipulate the price. So, I wonder. Anyway, it was an interesting conversation. So
let's take a look at the market and see how you think this is going to play into what you're seeing on the charts, Brian.
Yeah, well, actually, that's probably a good segue. So let's jump into some TA here and see where we go. So, we've had a number of requests over the past couple of weeks to take a good look at Bitcoin because the trading range is really condensed here. So I thought, I'd actually, really step back and take a really critical look. Here, I'm just trying to put something down. Hold on a second. Take a real critical look at Bitcoin from a higher time frame perspective. And, I encourage people, if you're kind of unsure of what's going on in the shorter term and you need some perspective, I always encourage people, when in doubt, zoom out. So what I've done here is I've actually pulled up a weekly price chart of Bitcoin on Bitstamp, and just done some simple analysis. A lot of the tools that you see here I basically use on a daily basis. The interesting thing, ironically enough, is a lot of these charts, hopefully the viewers go, well, I've seen that. Yeah, I've seen all of those kind of, yeah, I've seen them do that before. I mean, hopefully you see the same thing over and over again. And really, I have actually in the past tweeted out charts of this altcoin and overlay it with a weekly Bitcoin chart, and you tell me which one is which. When it comes to price action, ironically enough, they actually act very similarly. I think because Bitcoin is sort of like the leading horse here. It's sort of this stable framework around all of crypto, I think. I don't think if Bitcoin falls apart, I have a hard time believing a lot of the altcoins will hang in there too long. We saw what happened to Litecoin. I don't know whether you guys remember, back here in 2013 when Bitcoin was doing this, Litecoin was just going nuts. And of course we all seen Litecoin just come right down. So the point that I would just make here is that, for the crypto story to be bullish, I think Bitcoin generally has to be bullish. I personally did see the altcoin market come to life again through this transitionary period here that we had on Bitcoin. I think, industry standard wide, this, where I have my mouse right now, and you'll notice I have these three little curvy lines here. This was a significant transitionary event for Bitcoin. We could very easily regard, before Silk Road, after Silk Road, after the big run-up, Mt. Gox disaster, China ban, right, the whole thing, we ultimately had to correct that big bull market. And the interesting thing, longtime viewers of me will recall I'm a big fan of this zone between the 61.8 fib and the 78.6 fib. And you notice this 78.6 fib just so happens to be right off of that old historic high on Bitcoin. So generally speaking, I could definitely consider, actually just simply going and buying, some Bitcoin for like little old lady kind of strategy, just blindly. And I've done it lots of times where I'm just going to risk against the previous low end of the range and look for a test to the high end of the range And as you can see, I mean, I find it fascinating how Bitcoin itself put in this very well-defined trading range through almost the entire year of 2015, right down off of, and does anybody remember what the 78.6, what we call that line?
The line in the sand?
Very good, Rob. Excellent. So the long and short of it here is you can see how absolutely imperative it was that the bulls recapture that level, and man, there was one hell of a fight. I very comfortably believe that the market state from the period of like late 2013 into basically January 2015 was down. It was a bear market. And then I would argue that from beginning of January 2015, ironically enough, just up until that November government auction, I would actually argue that the market state of Bitcoin was range. I believe that we're going through a transition here, and it's interesting. My level 1ers just wrote their final exam. Just some fantastic results from them. Really, really great work. And just, one of the questions on the exam, because it is very crypto-oriented, is just simply, can you find any sort of technical evidence of a bull or bear in Bitcoin off of the weekly chart? And, I've been working with you, Rob, long enough. Hopefully, can you see this W that comes in here?
Oh, yeah.
Right? I mean, that's very telling of the transition of Bitcoin out of, first off, out of the bear, because we just kept getting AM after AM after AM. It was just a nightmare, to sideways range market, to now, through that November event, us actually starting to make higher highs and higher lows. In essence, starting to work our way trending higher, which is very encouraging. I mean, the long and short of it here is I spent a good year or so just watching Bitcoin melt down. And then we spent a year with price just going sideways, exactly where it's supposed to go sideways and sort of clean itself up. We often talk about saucer bottoms. I don't know whether, can you guys see how this looks like a saucer?
Yeah, definitely.
Can't do that. This happens a lot in the marketplace. And this is just, this growth rate was just too far, too fast. And what the market needed to do was just simply come back to its long-term trend line. You see that here? We should probably even highlight that. And that the interesting thing is that's off that. What is the name of this particular rally? Was there a particular name to this rally in Bitcoin when it jumped up to $250 there?
That was before
really.
my time.
All right.
That was when William was telling me about how his $15 Bitcoins were worth 115.
Yeah. So this was the Silk Road reversal right there. And if we just simply draw a trend line off of that smackdown, off of these lows, that low and the Silk Road low, you notice that basically that's exactly where price had to come back to and put up a hell of a fight, eh? Now, what's really interesting about this saucer, right, is I'm a big fan of market symmetry, and I don't know whether you guys can see this or not, but I often, the saucer itself is a symmetrical object. Hopefully you guys can appreciate that. So what we often see is, we just take like a mirror image of this half of the move and overlay it, and while price isn't going to exactly obey this, you'd be surprised how often price does mirror this type of behavior. If I look at, so, in our halving event, right, should be right into somewhere in here, right up in there. We know, whoops, actually, here, why don't we put that up there? Halving event's going to be like mid to late July, right, somewhere in there. So we know that the wind's at our back. We also know, too, that seasonally, this is a good time for asset appreciation anyway. Buy when it snows, sell when it goes. Here's that May. I often see with Bitcoin, we do get a bit of an extension of the seasonal rally. I don't know whether this symmetry is going to play out perfectly, but there is some interesting things going on here. If we just go over the weekly,
see, well, So what you're saying, Brian, last show you were talking about all these M's you were seeing. I guess it was more the one-day chart. And
Right.
yeah, now it looks like you're agreeing with me on my prediction of like 2K by the end of the year.
Well, 2K, I don't know. I would like to finish this weekly chart, and then we'll drill down to the lower time frames. I don't know how much time we have, but as I said, I really wanted to do a detailed analysis of this. So we'll finish off with this higher time frame.
Sorry for interrupting.
Yep. Lower time frame. All right, so we have this W working off of the weekly chart, and that's sort of this, the white lines that you see here, this low, this high, this low, breakout. We have our trend line here. You can see right now it's giving a level looks here about $339 a coin. And we can see that if the market continues its trending pattern higher, I think we can see 502 again. That really wouldn't surprise me. And that would basically take us, on our way higher. Remember that symmetry study that I just had on there? It kind of projected that we could sort of move up and down our way higher. My hunch is that this, if this is indeed a bull, that this is a pretty reliable target, this 500, and so I've sort of created a dual scenario here. I think at present we have a consolidation in price, and I think a lot of people in the Bitcoin community have been watching this with bated breath. How is this going to play out? If we go off of the 500 whatever high, and then this low here, you can kind of see even on the weekly chart this consolidation. Can you guys see that? Right, this sort of compressing of price. So my feeling is that whichever way this does resolve, whoever wins this battle, and exactly where you draw these trend lines, each exchange is slightly different. Some exchanges we've gone through the top, others we haven't. Just me changing that there, you can see. Actually, here's something I wanted to point out for the audience as well. If your site doesn't have volume profile, you can actually add this indicator. It's the VWMA, and it stands for Volume Weighted Moving Average. And you can see what I've done here is I've tried to set it to the longest period possible. This is a weekly chart, so this is only like 2.5 years. So what this does, this indicator for people who don't have access to volume profile, is this basically gives you what's called the POC, or the point of control in the market. And what I find really fascinating is that you can see Bitcoin is basically just oscillating right around this point of control. This is a really, really important level. It's quite remarkable how important it is.
That's good to know about that volume-weighted moving average, because that's definitely something a lot of people ask about, and if there's anything we can do to help them get some of that information, that'd be great.
Yeah, you guys were thinking about, maybe incorporating volume profile, maybe not, and if people are using Coinigy and they're like, oh, I wonder where the POC is. Well, you can use the volume-weighted average price indicator, and it's right in the indicator list, and it basically will give you that point of control. So that's a handy little tool for our viewers.
Great.
And by all means, if anybody wants to ask me, feel free to, Twitter me or whatever, and I can help you out with that if you need to.
So, Brian, let me just ask you, if this does resolve higher, like we all, I think, believe it will, do you think that do you think that that's overall would, shows some strength in Bitcoin if it tends to behave in the way you would expect a traditional market to behave, like, oil or gold or something like that, in terms of it going into this trading range after a period of volatility, and then setting a price floor basically and showing resistance, and then turning around, Do you think that long term that shows some, positive signs for Bitcoin in general, or would
I
that be
think
reading
that
too much?
this year-long consolidation here
Hmm.
basically set the new floor for price.
Right.
I find it very hard to believe that we are going to trade below this. And now, especially with the fact that we have the halving event, this level now actually economically won't make sense, right? Where
Sure.
previously this was the cost of production, with the halving event, this level can't be the cost of production. Well, it could be, but that would be on a technology efficiency side rather than a Bitcoin payout side, right?
Hmm.
So we might have the cost of mining go down, but my hunch is, and I think, if this guy is Nakamoto, and I have my doubts, but I think if Nakamoto and the team or whoever created Bitcoin, if they designed it the way they wanted to, they basically wanted to build in this idea that price is going to progressively work higher. The interesting thing is I don't know whether they took Moore's law into account. Maybe they did, and they're thinking that the offset in the payout will actually equally offset the Moore's law and technology innovation. I don't know.
He
We
actually
have
mentions
debates.
it in the white paper, though. Like
Pardon me?
Moore's law. Moore's law is mentioned in the white paper, at least in terms of scaling and yeah, the hash rate and everything.
I think
But
that's what established the floor here, right? I think we bumped up against the cost of production here. And I think that's basically, the market took a year. And I think the miners just basically said, you know what, this is our cost of production, so we're not going to let price go down any lower.
Hmm. Just
well, and
started
we have
holding coins.
I don't know the mechanics of that. So let's finish off with this story and get to sort of what I'm doing today. Keep in mind, this is a weekly price chart. And if somebody asked me, and this is important, if somebody asked me and Kim said, Brian, if I got some money on the sidelines, I'm thinking about investing in Bitcoin, my question would be, number one, are you going to play it on a value basis, or are you going to play it on a momentum basis? If you are going to play the market on momentum, then you are going to play the resolution of this range if it breaks higher, and hopefully you can see that a big fat W will come in here if we close up here, right? Can you see the W?
Hmm.
And really my advice for investors is don't go and assume that this thing's going to break out. Just let it break out. And what is it? It's the difference of like $50. So what? If this thing's going to $5,000 a coin, what's $50? 20, like a year or two from now. You're going to think about it. My advice to Joe Sixpack is let this resolve. Let the W come in. And if you want to just buy on a stop, great, buy on a stop. But my feeling is, I got a funny feeling that we're not done with the shenanigans here. At the same time, if that person came and said, well, Brian, no, really, I like value. I want to buy where I think, I got a pretty good shot at buying the floor. I would have to simply draw my fibs off of the weekly price chart, and here is my reload zone. And what a coincidence, that's right off of this big honking trend line we drew all the way back to there. Bang, 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 right? So, people ask me, Brian, I'm thinking about buying some Bitcoins, where should I buy it? And my advice is not here. Sorry. Now, if you want to play the market on momentum, great, you can chase this. I don't mind that, but if you're going to do that, then you got to play the rules of the game. And when we hit upside objectives, I sure hope you're going to be taking profits. So, what does that mean that Brian's doing in the short term? Well, as everybody knows who's watching this, we've taken, and a full disclosure since day one, we've taken basically one coin and turned it into 7 Bitcoins. And so the question ultimately here is, do I have Bitcoin long risk or do I have Bitcoin short risk now? I actually have quite a bit of Bitcoin long risk. Now, I'm long all these cryptos. It's not like I can go and liquidate them. So what is a prudent strategy to try and hedge part of this portfolio? And really one could argue, and I've set it up here, I don't know whether the reporting has come in yet, but I could actually argue that I could actually run like a 10% hedge, maybe like 7/10 of a Bitcoin at 10 times leverage futures contracts, which would give me 7 Bitcoins of net short exposure. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
technically, I could completely hedge my portfolio with a futures position if I thought Bitcoin was going to crap out and just lock in some of these prices. As it is right now, and really what you have to understand is that as a trader, I run trading plans. That's what I do. At no time should I ever inject my opinion into my actual trades. The trades I take should be off of the trading plan, and really I judge how good or bad of a trader I am by how well I follow my plan. That's actually the key to success in this game. So what I find, and this happens a lot in this world, is that trades that often set up in trading plans are often extremely unpopular. Because basically what's happened is price has rallied into resistance, and of course the community wants the market to go through resistance and keep going, but I have to short against highs. And then conversely, when markets crap out and they just tank down, what am I doing a lot of the time in these down markets on these altcoins? I'm in there buying. And it's tough to do. It's very, very hard to do because I have a lot of people like Alex who's just sitting there totally tuning me out, picking his nails with his teeth, who basically doesn't believe me and thinks my opinion's full of shit. Well, you know, really, I don't care whether my opinion's full of shit. All I'm doing is following my trading plan. And I just got to live by the plan. So why would Brian consider having a short on? Other than the hedge, if we actually look at price action, you know, this is a 4-hour Bitcoin chart. We see a high end of a range and a low end of a range. And lo and behold, there is our reload zone, right? Basically shorting against the high with an expectation of a test of the low end of the range. And you know, we know that markets range about how often versus trending? Who knows the magic answer?
It's like 80-20.
Right. So the point here is, technically speaking, 80%, let's even say 70% of the time, the market will fail at the top end of this range and have to go back down to the bottom end of the range. And you can see that it did exactly that here. And then, lo and behold, look, we did it again. We rallied off of a V bottom, and when I'm looking at trading tops or bottoms, and let's take the bottom scenario, what letter of the alphabet am I looking for?
A W.
That's right. So we have a V here. We don't have a W, which leads me to believe that at some point, and we've also left, look at the size of this honking tail here. Okay. We've also left a pretty darn big tail that should be eaten here. Now, I'm not saying it's gonna, I'm not saying that, you know, there is no guarantees in the market. If anybody actually comes to you and says, you know, I know exactly what's gonna happen, they're full of horseshit, right? All we're doing is playing a game of statistics. And this is actually, in my setup language, this is what I call a reload zone within a reload zone. So ironically enough, I'm almost compelled. I have to take this trade. I wouldn't be a good mentor for my students if I didn't take this trade, because this setup is in my trading plan. So as a result, and actually what's interesting is OKCoin futures, a little bit different price action. They actually listed a new contract, the June futures contract. So I don't have that on that chart. But anyway, it did get up into this zone, and I hit it. Over the course of this period, price has been jumping all over the place, right? I hit, you know, keep in mind the futures contracts a little bit differently. If you want to see the futures, come onto the site. You know, I'm more than happy to, you know, all of my, in fact, on the site, right, what I do on a daily basis is I post basically the updates of exactly what the trade positions are doing, my thoughts on Bitcoin, broader stock market, just every single day. They're just sitting there for you. As well, of course, you know, in the members lounge, we have tons and tons of people in here constantly posting. You can see JC went and posted the link to the show here. And I should give a shout out
I'm looking out, JC.
Yeah, actually, yeah, we should have JC back on the show. I don't know where he is. But anyway, you can see people are chit-chatting away here on the site. So the point of the matter here, and actually today, in the blog today, I did like a half-an-hour video on this formation, what I see happening here, and the trade. I actually, on this dump, I actually had 2 contracts going short here. On this dump, I squared one, so I only have 1 contract short right now. But, there's that M that I told you about before, Alex, right? There it is. Really, until this M is busted, I have to, every time the market dips up into here, I have to consider shorting. As soon as this M is broken, and what's interesting is that M being broken, can you see the M right up in here on the weekly charts there? Right? If we can clear up here, and this is what I said to the audience earlier, for anybody who's thinking about investing in Bitcoins and you want to try and play the momentum trade right now, just let the W come in. Don't fight this fight. You're not big enough to win this fight. Let the market fight this fight. Let it be done with. Let the market break out. Give the market the 20, 30, 40 bucks here it needs to break out, and then get your butt in there. I don't have a problem with that whatsoever. So, long and short of it here is, yes, I do still have a small short position on. And according to trading ranges, until we break out through the top end of this range here, I just can't be too bullish. And actually, I'm a little bit concerned about how overtly bullish everyone is. And uh-oh, here's Willie getting nice and stupid.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. So. Okay, so does that, Alex, what do you think? Did I give the, do you have a clear idea of what I'm thinking in Bitcoin right now?
Oh yeah, and I think the one thing that summarizes it best is actually a quote that I have from a fantastic crypto trader in the space is, don't worry about the first 10% or the last 10%. Just be happy with that 80 in the middle.
Totally. Totally. I mean, that's basically our bread and butter. The interesting thing, and I think I said this on the weekly chart, right? If we can break out through this range, I very easily expect it. Come on in, Nikolai. A rally up into, at the very least, a test of the reload zone up here. This is like $700, $800, $900.
Mm-hmm.
Let the whales, the arrogance, the whoever's fight this fight. Let them win this fight, and then we'll go and grab 200, 300 bucks here. That's the way I would, momentum-wise trading. But I need to caution people. I'm not buying this right here. In fact, I got a little short on, right? And people who come to me in the public and say, Brian, I'm a value person. I want to work, a nice low bid. Where would I be buying? You can see these numbers, right? And Bitcoin is notorious for its fuck you moves. Excuse my French. Right? This, and the irony of it all is this might happen, and I've seen this on the goddamn markets. It's driving me crazy. This move down into this zone and then back up here might happen in like 10 minutes. Right?
That's so true.
You missed the window, it's gone.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of people that I've just said, you know what, just if you want to invest in Bitcoin, right, if we're gonna, blast up here, great, you could chase it if you want, but really, just sprinkle a whole bunch of bids in here. And if those bids get filled, great, and sprinkle them. Doesn't need to be all at one level. Just sprinkle them. A little bit here, a little bit there. And, if we get that little FU move, great, you get some. So, all right. That's my thoughts on Bitcoin right now.
Perfect. Well, I think we need to do some fan service, and we got to go to our wonderful wheel.
So wheel of cryptos.
And the audience, if you want to give feedback and stuff, I didn't actually get to indicator analysis. I apologize, but just let me know if I'm heading down the direction that you guys want me to be talking about here on Bitcoin. Okay, and aside your bull bear, right? That's different. Okay, so we had a list of coins that were submitted. We weeded out a few names here, right? Because there were some that were just kind of marginal. But I put them on the wheel. So, we're just going to let the wheel decide who gets the attention tonight.
Nice.
XEQ.
Cool beans.
XCP.
Counterparty.
Okay.
This has been a lot of fun trading this one. It's done some crazy little spikes up, and it's got lots of room to go. You want to go on Poloniex. It's got decent history on Bitter, but Poloniex is where the where the action's at. Yeah.
All right, well, you know, the interesting thing, guys, is now that we've been doing this, I guess, for about a year, I think almost every single one of you is going to know, I know exactly where Brian's going to say I should have bought this thing.
Mm-hmm. Not today. Not today.
Right, well, you know,
I suppose show 26 would be a year, would it not?
Yeah, I guess
think so, yeah.
So we're going to have to look back a little bit in hindsight here. But, you know, what I want you guys to do is sort of transfer yourself back to remember what crypto was like back in December, January, when, you know, everybody was obsessed with Bitcoin. Bitcoin in the
Alts are dead.
Right? And then how the alts sort of started to clean themselves up. And this is such a fantastic story of seasonality. I actually think, and this is my general feeling, I think there was actually some sort of big buy program that came into the market there at the beginning of the year, right across crypto. And I really don't even think they even really cared. I think that just the buy program just came in and said, just buy, keep buying. You know, these buy programs, they work in credit, like these are huge algos that operate. You don't even see them operating. They know exactly what size to place orders, and they just lifted the market. I just felt it. It was just quite remarkable to watch.
There was definitely a lot of money flowing into a lot of different markets, so you know it had to be coming from somewhere. It seemed like it was fairly coordinated. It all happened at once, that's for sure.
Yeah, and I also think too that the fact that Bitcoin actually finished last year positive, and I don't think a lot of people took that into account. Like if you actually, because there's a lot of fund managers around the world that just simply go asset by asset by asset, and they just want to have their money invested in whatever was up the previous year. And everything was down. Stocks were down, commodities were down, but Bitcoin showed like a 20% increase year to date. So I think that caught a lot of people's attention. So, you know, long and short of it here, we can see the very well-defined W that came in. And this was, what's really cool, guys, is, you know, a lot of people are like, oh, yeah, but, you know, traders, there's no way I could get in at the levels. And you have to be, like, lightning fast. I don't think that's true. You know, you could, if you're trading, I mean, look at this W here. I didn't even see this, right? Went down, up, down. So you could have watched this level like a hawk right there, doink, right? Could have started accumulating. You see the breakout there. I don't know whether we got a classic fib pullback here. Oh, look at that. Oh, Mountain Man even got his fill. So you could have just been working stink bids here at Mountain Man's level. 61.8 fib, right? Could have gotten lots of, this is a daily chart, so it's not like there was any big hurry. If you didn't want to play fibs, you could have focused in on this little range right here. You see how the market's, you know, made a new low, rallied up, then made a new low. So this has been this range wiped out. Rallied up, came back down, did not make a new low, and then started to turn up. So you could make an argument if you want to play little double bottoms and double bottoms. We have this double bottom confirmed here, rallied up, pulled back into reload zone, another little W coming in here. Willie starting to turn up nicely. It'd be interesting to see what MACD look like here. Going positive, nothing really stunning. You can see money flows. Look at the nice little W and the OBV coming in there. So technically speaking, lots of reasons to get super excited through here. Moving average crossovers, yada, yada, yada. You know, this is, what is that, 1629, so we'll call that 163. So what's that, 30, 32, 33, somewhere in that area. You should be able to get some off, half on a double. And that level was hit right here. So even as of this point right there, you would be in a free position on the trade. Not bad. Let's see, did it go much further? Oh, look at that. Woo! Wow, this thing really went far. Well, you could have gotten a second W off. Second double off. So what do we got here? 6,000-ish, somewhere up in that area. There's another double. Did we get another double out of this? Oh, not quite. So two doubles, 200% return. That's sort of the way I would be playing it right now. If we went off of this level, that is, what is that? That's 0.002 or 21. So 40 is one double. That was hit here, and 80 is another double, which was also a hit. So even off of either level, you got off two doubles, 200% return, and you still got free coins to go. What do you do now, though? Julian's always like, well, you know, that's about the past, Brian. Tell me about the future. So we take a fib off of the high, going back down. Can you see how they actually brought it right back into a reload zone here? Can you see that?
Yep. Actually, yeah, I played this one really well where I bought around, I think it was 180,000 Satoshis. I came in for breakfast and saw it was 800,000, so I sold. Came back at lunch, it was 400, so I bought back, and then when I came in for dinner, checked the market one last time, it was at 60. So I was like, buy, sell, buy. Yeah, it was
that
great.
was this one day right here?
Yep, I believe that was the candle.
Yeah. That's interesting. So extreme volatility even through the day, eh?
Oh yeah, and you can see that even just recently here, it just had like a rocket up 80K, and I think it's because like if you look at this more in a macro sense, like a longer term, like this thing still has a long way to go. Like you're looking at that candle, yeah.
Yeah, long way.
And this is only on Poloniex. If you look on Bitter, I think it's got a little bit more too, but that last peak was when Overstock was, I think, really hyping it up, and they were talking about putting their stock on it. So maybe that's part of the news we're going to be hearing soon. I don't know.
Okay, well, you know, I think you can see that the pros got off their positions, and now they have free positions, right?
For sure.
That's exactly what I think's happened here. You know, like basically the smart money is now all in free coins. I also see too here they left one hell of a wick. You know, kind of like what you're saying, this insane volatility. And I get the feeling, what do we call these two candles when you see a really big up candle with a close right up, not much of a wick, and then open right up near there, not much of a wick, and then boom, right back down. What do we call that? Remember?
Railroad tracks.
That's right. So not a good sign, right? We got now a major brick wall right here. At the same time, too, we also have momentum trailing off here. And really, the way I would say it is you got to see the buyers come back here, right? So the buyers got to step up. You know, if I was, you know, if this is my money, I can't buy it. Just can't buy it. It's too late. You got to be on your free position, and then if they just keep working it up higher, great, you know, wonderful. You know, keep selling half on the doubles as they keep working higher. On the short-term basis, you know, if you're Mr. Slick day trader kind of idea like Alex, super slick, I suppose, you know, if you started getting bottoming action off of the, you know, this range, because this was into a bit of a reload zone here, and we could probably also say there, you might get a nice rally back up into this area. Interesting to see, you know, you got this wick going right up to Mountain Man level there. That wick might have to get eaten right there. But you know, I can't trade this. Yeah, interesting, but
Let's spin the wheel.
okay. Well, I do know that Alex, you wanted to do one for Greg. What was that one that you wanted?
Oh, Decred. Yeah.
That's a pretty popular one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we get a lot of requests for that one.
And that makes Greg nice and happy. Okay, so where are we going to be? Yobit?
Funny, huh?
All right.
Yeah,
looks like a relatively, you know, is there a backstory here? You want to tell the audience a backstory?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so Decred is a brand new algorithm. It's a bunch of developers from Bitcoin Suite, which is kind of like, I think, a wallet for Bitcoin. They got a crap load of funding. They actually did not a crowd sale, they did an airdrop. So if you signed up and you kind of proved that you had you signed up with a decent media presence or a decent like online persona, so you weren't just like signing up 1,000 times, you would have gotten, it was 280 coins. Well, when the network first launched, those 280 coins were worth about, I think it was like half a Bitcoin or something. and now at the peak here is worth over 2 Bitcoins. So where Ethereum was actually like, hey, can we get some money? These guys are just like, yeah, here, take some free coins, participate in the network. So one thing that they're doing that's pretty revolutionary is it's a hybrid proof of work, proof of stake. So, and it's there's a dev fund that's actually paid out, but they are using the proof of stakers are actually voting on every block that the proof of workers are producing. So in that way, they can actually like invalidate blocks. So where you have Bitcoin right now is effectively doing an election, trying to decide if they want bigger blocks or not. The stakers can actually kind of have a vote, like the people who own the currency have a vote in it too. So it's a real cool like revolution in I guess politics in terms of crypto. So.
Sure. Could avoid that situation where the miners have all the control over the network, basically.
Exactly, yeah. So if they want, they can choose to invalidate all the blocks that are smaller because they want something bigger. And the voters, too, can also vote on other things, I believe. So and it's using a fairly efficient algorithm, which some people will debate.
How many coins are out?
It's a pretty low number. I think it's going to be 21 million in total, but it's producing, I think, 50 every 5 minutes. You'll have to maybe pull that tab over, but it's only like 200K right now. It's super low.
Okay. I'd be curious as to why this candle had to go all the way down here.
That was the launch, so like that's why it's at 0. So like if you want the full history, you got to go to Blue Trade. That's where like they had the first market. But
Good. All right.
You have the same reaction when we first talked about it.
The problem is, and half this game, I hope you guys appreciate, you know, like when I was a broker, people would come to me with stock ideas all the time, right? And 9 times out of 10, I just have to say, you know, I mean, good luck with your story, you know, but I'm going to just sit this one out if you don't mind. I don't like this consolidation in the way that it's failed here. It's a little disturbing. I think, you know, over the short term we could actually probe a bit lower. You can see she's trying to carve out a bit of a reversal here. In fact, there's a guy I used to trade with who actually, this is actually a trading technique called Doji Gap. So if everybody wants to write this down, here's your freebie for the week. If you ever see the market doji, do you guys see how this is a doji? Maybe yes, maybe no. Can you guys see me? I don't know whether you can see this or not. Rob's gone to the bathroom.
Can.
All right, so doji, and then the next bar, it gaps higher. And really what we want to do is see this day finish, and you'll actually get a buy signal if it can tick up 1 tick up through this bar's high. Now, if this bar blasts up here, right, and then leaves a wick, you know, we may open up the next candle and then never go up and take out that high. So you can't chase it here. You got to let this candle finish. And then technically, if indeed we do that, what is this 3-bar candlestick pattern called?
I have no idea. Can you not hear me?
Oh, there you are. You're back now. Yep.
I was here before.
This is a fractal, right? The fractal will also get a buy signal 1 tick above this high. The gap here leaves me a little bit concerned. And is this the same on that other exchange? I don't know. Is this a BitterX issue? I don't know. You know, what's this sort of, you know, this is almost the same as Bitcoin in that, you know, if somebody was like, Brian, you know, I really think this thing's going to go up, I think it's a great idea, I would say, you know, let the market tell you that it's a great idea. And the first thing that we want to see is let's stop making M's and let's start making a W. I don't like the fact that we've gone through this low and then this low, and then you notice how price really consolidated off of that and failed. If anything, you know, and I had the 1 hour chart up when I looked at it earlier, what I think you might see here, and yeah, I think this is, we're going to, probably because we're talking about it here, but, you're going to get a sort of a little buy on the rumor kind of idea. And if anything, I could probably see a nice little technical bounce heading back up into this area, which would just do nothing more than bring us down back to the point of kissing the underside of this trend line. And, so for those that are trading this, I don't think you can buy this. That sucks. You could do like a little reload zone, right, off of this range, and maybe work your bid at that gap for traders, right? Actually, I did a trade on Jumbox, exactly the same, where basically I just worked my bid right down at the gap off the daily chart, got my fill, and then it cranked higher. That was an awesome trade. Off of the 1 hour chart, I don't know. You're trying to like sort of, thread a needle here. Can you see how this is kind of like a head and shoulders here? So if you're lucky, this is a head and shoulders. You get your stink bid fill here at the RLZ at these gaps, and you take the trade up to here. Probably produce a nice little risk-reward trade. Not a bad idea. Not my flavor. Again, as I said, off the daily charts, little suspect. If I was going to work a bid, I think I'm going to concentrate. And I like when the community is positive of coins. It just doesn't necessarily mean that I have to buy or pay the current price. So I definitely am interested in this, but I think I'm going to be working my bids, and ideally, actually, I'd like to see this tail revisited here. And that's 0.002. That's the area. If I was going to be a buyer, maybe even to see if this low here, this tail of this candle here is eaten, I might take a shot down in that area there. Do like the idea. There's a bit of a bull divergence trying to form, and Willie is getting stupid. But you can see the buyers aren't coming back here in earnest. So if anything, for me, I would just, let's let this thing bottom a bit more and show me a little more evidence of an actual technical bottom or a trade location. Give me this juicy trade location.
Well, if you see on my screen here, I got Greg's chart that he shared. I think it was late yesterday, so some of the candles haven't printed yet. But he was calling kind of for lower areas here. He wanted to buy just below or right around 40 or 400,000. But
what time frame is that?
This is a 1 day, I believe.
No.
720.
720.
How long is that? That's hours.
6 hours?
12 hours?
12 hours. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I trade in the hourly.
Half a day. Okay. And he has what's that little note? It's that blue line. I like his green box there. Oh, and that's a 200% extension too, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that's to eat this this tail right down in here. Yeah. I kind of like the idea of this tail being eaten here.
Yeah, and he's got the same sort of repeating pattern here drawn. So it's like there are zero overlap. The ABCD fractal pattern.
That's a bearish harmonic, Alex.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, I've kind of lost a lot of my my terminology with the lack of trading. I've been trading mostly, I think, on fundamentals recently. It was just kind of pop into a couple of my rooms. Hey guys, what's up? What's going on today? Oh, this looks alright. And then I see a couple charts that I kind of like. I don't know why I like them, but I guess I just do. And then yeah, do a little buy, a little sell. I am recording. Like I'm writing down what I'm seeing, or I'm writing down my trades and why I felt I needed to buy them. So I think that's one improvement I definitely gained from your course, Brian. But also to just setting orders, because I've had this argument with a couple guys, I guess, talking about the sell half on a double thing. It's like sometimes you just can't watch the charts all day. Like they talk about, oh, I like to set an alarm and then I'll sell based on what it does after it has set an alarm. It's like, well, what happens if you're in the hospital? Like you have nothing working. Like your portfolio can do whatever the hell it wants to. So those are, I think, the principles that are really good. The vegetables, as you called them.
Eating your vegetables. That's
yeah.
right.
So that will
I think working with a trading plan. If you're, and keep in mind, if there are guys that are, oh, I got levels set and I'm watching the screen 24/7, well, odds are they are working with a plan, whether they've actually articulated it down to put it down on paper. I'm sure they have very specific reasons that they take trades. I like the idea for people that are relatively new, or even somebody that, Brian, I'm a lawyer, I'm an accountant, I'm a woodworker, right? I don't want to watch this stuff 24/7, but I see you having fun in crypto, and I want to have some fun too. This is a relatively the little old lady approach kind of idea to buying a chunk of an asset, not worrying about the underlying risk because you're not taking too much risk on the buy, and then every time it doubles, letting the market have half the position. That's actually a strategy that I worked as a broker. It's a fantastic strategy for like people who are doctors, lawyers, accountants, woodworkers that, hey, I've got a life. I want my money to grow, but I don't want to have to watch it 24/7, and I don't want to have to really stress over it. So, but it's not going to appeal to everybody. And somebody who has the ability to sit in front of a screen and get up at 2, 3 in the morning. The one thing I really don't like about Bitcoin is these almost invariably Bitcoin has its moves when I'm in La La Land. And I hate getting up and being woken up in the middle of the night. It sucks. The irony of being like a crude oil pit trader is that your business was from 6:30 in the morning till 1 o'clock in the afternoon, Monday to Friday, and you didn't have to worry about any other time of day.
If our viewers want to learn more about developing a trading plan, where should they go, Brian?
I think a great resource is these shows. And I have a lot of site people that I said, the very first thing they have to do is come and watch every single Coinigy show because it sort of gets them thinking the right direction.
What about the rationalinvestor.co? What do you offer that can help people with their trading plans?
Well, we do have a school, and by all means, if people are interested, I think we'll open up sort of pre-registration for the fall program over the next month or so. We have a summer program, but man, I can't believe the overwhelming response. It like sold out like weeks ago, and it doesn't even start for a month. I will see if I can squeeze in a raffle winner here. I guess maybe we'll do it. We'll try and do the raffle next show, because I do like to. In fact, our raffle winner, I should probably bring him on. Last time was David Ottinger. I don't know if you remember him or not.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic guy. Wrote his exam, got 92%, I think, on his final. And actually, I was going to give a shout out to him. A few of the ideas that he came up with during the fundamental analysis, kind of like Alex has been. I liked the idea so much, I went and bought the companies. You remember that commercial from back in the 80s, Remington? Do you remember that guy who used to go, I like the shaver so much, I bought the company.
I do remember those, yeah.
Yeah, you remember that guy?
Barely.
So,
yeah.
And the great part about it is that's the awesome part about our community. I mean, literally, our little community is it's one of these 1 + 1 = 3. I can wake up in the morning and I can have from 5 different directions. People are like, hey, Brian, take a look at this. Hey, did you see that? Do you see what's going on? Hey, do you see that breakout? Do you see that setup? Do you see that setup? It's just beautiful. I mean, it's a work of art. So, by all means, I would say step one, it's $30 a month. Obviously, it means that you're going to make a commitment to trading alts and to making monies from trading alts, right? You're not going to be able to just, come in here with half a Bitcoin and expect to make a fortune. But those people that do come in and they manage a book of assets, we do very, very well for them, and they're very, very happy people. Step one is just joining the site and just getting yourself comfortable. And step two, if you do want to take that next step in becoming a professional, pour through all of our tutorials and videos on our site. We have a ton of different resources for people, just site members. And then if you do need a helping hand and you do want to work with somebody, the big sales pitch of my educational programs is that basically I work one-on-one with you. You know, the feedback I've gotten from students has been very, very positive. So I think it's a win-win all around for everyone.
Great.
I don't know whether that answers your question.
Yes, absolutely. That's what I was trying to squeeze out of you, Brian. So once again, check out therationalinvestor.co for more about your trading plans and how to navigate the volatile but exciting crypto markets.
Yeah, and the cool part about it is you can build a trading plan to your own personal specifications. If you're a risk taker, great, we can build a plan about being a risk taker. If you're not a risk taker, which I actually encourage people to start with, we can build a plan out of low risk. And that's the best part about this is, you know, you don't have to, you know, put yourself into really high anxiety situations while trading, right?
Yep. So, and if you want to hear more from Alex Sturck, check out his show, Block Talk, for more crypto-specific, less about the markets maybe, and a little bit more about different cryptocurrencies and what's going on.
Yeah. I just did an interview with one of the core developers of Ethereum. So yeah, you can search us up, Block Talk on YouTube, or just block_talk on Twitter. It was a great interview. It actually kind of made me super bearish on Ethereum at that point, because the guy, he was way more about the technology they were proving rather than the value of his asset. He's like, yeah, if anything, I don't like it when it's so high, because it means a lot more eyes on us. So it gives a lot more insight into the R&D.
That's the worst part about it, is that at the top of the market, the public, you know, basically our viewers, right? They were all really excited about Ethereum. And I had a lot of people saying, oh, I want to get in, I want to get in, I want to get in. And I just, man, that's tough. Again, a lot of what we have to do as technicians is discipline ourselves to either take very unpopular positions according to our trading plan, or have the discipline not to get sucked into the euphoria.
Yeah. So, and also check out Coinigy.com for your cryptocurrency trading needs. We offer trading and charting on close to 50 different exchanges right now, and we're adding more features and more integrations all the time. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.
Bye.